And when you're earning just 28k and you're living in London, that's absolutely nothing. And I think a lot of doctors are struggling, and hence why they're fleeing the country as an F1, going to other countries where they'll pay you 3 times as much for half the hours. It's just not good for the system. It's just not sustainable.
I think one of the most galling statistics that I've come across is that a barista who works at Costa Coffee is earning £14.10p an hour. A first-year junior doctor is earning £14.9p an hour. No offense to any baristas out there, but I would expect someone who's doing a 5-6 year medical degree and is then becoming a doctor to maybe be on more than £14.9p an hour.
The first statistic we have over here, as it's highlighted over here, is that the pay awards for junior doctors in England from 2008 to 2021 have delivered a real terms a pay cut of 26.1%. So this shows that even though their salary seems on the surface to be increasing, it's actually decreasing over the years.
Yeah.
And just to kind of illustrate what exactly a junior doctor is, you may think that this is someone who is only in his first few years of medicine. But actually, it's a junior doctor can be used to describe someone who has 10 years of experience in medicine. It's essentially anyone who's in the medical pathway until he becomes a consultant, which is the top dog, so to speak.
Yeah.
So this applies to everyone.
Not really top done though.
Huh?
Not really top done, but we'll come to it.
Yeah, even they're not getting much. But as you can see, we have a graph here of the pay for junior doctors, and as you can see, especially after tax, the take home is not that much, especially for many years going into it. Especially when someone's that age, he will have increased responsibilities within the household, etc. Then following down from that, and these will appear on the screen as well. So this is an example of a pay slip, and as you can see, the name of the doctor is a doctor which many in the current climate feel they can empathize with and relate to. His name is Dr. Peanuts. And I think as just an ongoing joke, is the doctors feel as though they're getting peanuts.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of an interesting take on the payslip itself. We have 12.3% inflation and 7.3% student loan interest. So these are both negatives, right? Then we have 1.25% national insurance increase and 2% pay rise.
Yeah.
And in total, they've put 3 claps. And I think this is kind of the rhetoric which I'm hearing from the junior doctors, is though they feel that the claps which were provided for people working on the front line was kind of just a means to kind of relieve the guilt of the raw deal that they're actually getting. So an additional 10% pay cut this year is the equivalent of working 1 month for nothing, essentially, due to the inflation and the
irony of this is
increase.
A lot of trusts have taken this literally. Some doctors have not got paid after 2 months of working. They've just started, presumably due to pay issues with administration. There's always admin issues. But even then, that does not suffice. The doctor still has to come to work, still has to pay his rent, still has to pay his transport, still has to pay food for his family. So not paid is very, very obviously it's not acceptable at all.
We'll just run through a few of the rest of the stats.
Just to drive the point home further for the viewers as well. We've got more statistics, and they've sort of created some analogies that sort of like make a lot of people aware of the situation and sort of drives the point home. By the end of FY1, so that's after your first year after working after graduating from medicine and medical school, you've been at university for 5 years and you've worked for 1 year, you still can't afford a small Domino's margarita pizza with the hourly take-home pay rate that you'll be obtaining. The FY1 hourly take-home pay is £11.27, and a pizza costs £15. A small margarita pizza costs £15 from Domino's.
So, Ustad Muawiyah, you actually referred to the matrix earlier, and so these are people within the conventional system who have reached the zenith of academic performance, the absolute pinnacle, and they're looked upon as society as kind of the brightest, with regards to academic achievement and the rigorous kind of standards which are placed on them right from an early age. And now we're seeing what's actually the outcome for that economically. Continue.
By the end of CT2, so that's if you go down specialty training, so you've done 2 years, you've studied in medicine for 5 years, you've done 2 years after graduation of training, FY1 and FY2, you've done another 2 years of CT1 and CT2 going down the specialty route. So now you've altogether worked 4 years and you still can't afford a 6-piece KFC bargain bucket with your hourly take-home pay. Hourly take-home pay is £14.76, and a bargain bucket costs £16 essentially. it's ridiculous. You know, when you compare this to other fields, and so obviously we can't compare like for like, right? Because each field is different. But if you look at investment banking and medicine are usually compared because of the years of grind and effort that they go through, medics and investment bankers. But when an investment banker starts, essentially starting salary is considerably higher than a doctor who's been through rigorous training all these years. So
That's mainly because the source of the income is different.
yeah.
But we'll talk about that as we
Yeah.
go after we go through the stats.
Okay.
Let's race through them.
So the last stat that we've got, second to last one, I think this probably be the last one to just drive the point home again. By the end of ST5, you've been at university for 5 years, works for 7 years, you still can't afford a 10-piece KFC bargain bucket with your hourly take-home pay. ST5 hourly take-home pay is £18.17, and a KFC 10-piece bargain bucket costs £20.
So we have the same for the ST8. So this is just before you become a consultant. So he's been in the game for worked for 10 years, 10 whole years. Probably got a big family by now. And we have the hourly pay £20.19 and a large Domino's pizza for £20.99. Another statistic we have is an F2 is paid £1,170 per month less for the same job today as compared to 2008, inflation adjusted. We have the case of two separate doctors. One graduated in 2009. Let's call him Adam. And he had £1,000 tuition fees as a F1. So it's his first year as a doctor. He earned 47.5K in today's money. That's the same as a core trainee too. So it's much more experienced than him today. The average house price was 4.5 times his annual income. As opposed to Shruti, she graduated in 2022. She had £9,000 tuition fees. She won't out-earn Adam's FY1 salary until 3 to 5 years later into her career. The average house price is 6.8 times her annual income. Shruti will pay 100,000 to 300,000 more than Adam for her student loans. Shruti's pay will have fallen 30% throughout her entire career. Is Shruti, also a hard-working doctor, worth 30% less than Adam? And as you can see, so these are posts made by Doctors Vote, and they're basically campaigning to raise awareness for these things. We have, again, statistics of the kind of pay cut, inflation adjusted, which has occurred for all grades.